It's drilled to left field. Is it high enough? See ya! A walk-off grand slam, and the Yankees win.
And he drives one to right field over toward the line. Long run for Laureano, and he runs it, and the Mets win the ball game.
Episode 40 of the Boroughs. Kevin Bunk, Michael Merlo coming to you. And for some reason, today's episode, as you can tell by the title, Torpedo Bats, and we just had 3 games for both the Mets and Yankees this weekend. We're back in the full swing of things. For some reason, I just have a giddy feeling about today's episode. I think it's going to be great for so many different reasons. But Mike, opening weekend's now behind us. We're into that first full week of the season. Overall, just how you feeling emotionally? Baseball's totally back.
Totally feel good. Totally happy that baseball is finally back. It's really the only thing on my mind at this point. The March Madness games yesterday weren't even that great, so I'm fully locked in. I was a little upset the Mets didn't play on the Sunday. I was pissed. But then the way they looked on Saturday, I was like, you know what? Maybe they need a day off, and I wasn't as mad. So totally just pumped that we are now in the full swing of things.
So we're going to start today with the Torpedo Bat conversation. And we will let you know, Mike and I have not had any discussions. We wanted to save it all for today. I think we're going to have some differing opinions, probably naturally because I'm the guy whose team's getting absolutely ridiculed for doing something completely legal. And Mike's going to give me that outside of the Yankees perspective. But we're going to discuss it first, get it out of the way. I know it's kind of becoming nauseating for some people, but still we want to talk about it because the two of us want to. It's our show. And we're going to go into the Yankees full series, which was awesome after. We're going to talk about the Mets after. We're going to go around the league. We have a few topics around the league that we want to discuss, but we will start Torpedo Bats, and I want you to kick things off with all of your thoughts. I think you have some stronger opinions on it than I do.
Right. So I am completely understanding that the torpedo bat is legal. I 100%, I see it. It wouldn't be allowed to be made, right, if it wasn't legal. So before I start what I'm going to say, it is legal. They are allowed to do this. It's more of a preference that I don't like it. You know, when you play baseball, you're taught to barrel the baseball up, to hit the ball in the sweet spot, hit the ball as hard as you can, as far as you can. And now you're changing where you're going to hit the ball because Anthony Volpe can't barrel a baseball up, because if there's a pitch inside, he can't get his hands in time. It's just like we're changing the bat, we're changing the weapon. And yes, it's legal. I get that, but it rubs me the wrong way. It does.
I get that. I think that's a good viewpoint on it. When I look at that, though, I have a couple thoughts. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong there because I don't think you can be wrong with that take. But I think at every level of baseball, you're allowed, because you use metal bats, you're allowed to use bats like this. So players can grow up hitting with this style of bat. They can grow up where they get jammed, they're actually barreling something up. You can do that at every level. You can do that in college. Most bat companies actually make, as I was doing my research this weekend, like the cat bats, which were so popular. I used them in high school. They make bats with this exact style so that you do have a wider range and you can take inside pitches easier. But what bothers me is that guys have been using these for years. But of course, the day the Yankees decide to have their broadcast where they highlight these bats for Anthony Volpe and Jazz Chisholm, not only do they go deep, everyone on the team does. They hit 9 home runs, they score 20 runs, and now it's just an exploding conversation. Meanwhile, Giancarlo Stanton used it the whole year last year, including the greatest playoff run of all time.
That's to me what's so confusing about the whole thing is that it's been around, right? Like I had said to you yesterday, if MLB knew this was coming this season, why wasn't there some sort of warning? And then it came out that it's been used in the past. So my question is, why did it take the Yankees to hit 9 home runs for this to become a topic? Why was this not brought up the first time we saw it? Because I don't think the Yankees needed to hit 9 home runs for this to be a story. I really don't. Did it add to it? Sure. But if a player a premier player, even an average player, is using a different style of bat, that should be newsworthy. That should be talked about. And if it was 2 or 3 years ago, we probably should have picked up on this. No?
Oh, totally. I think we should have had more of a knowledge, and there should have been somebody in the media that picked up on these guys use different bats for this. That's a great filler story in the middle of summer that people will actually read. But I don't know. It's like Bellinger's saying he used them in spring training. It sounds like every team uses them in spring training to see if guys want them, because Cora was very open about, yeah, we used them in spring training. We wanted to see if players would like them. I know a lot of teams experiment with the axe bats with the different handle in spring training, the ones that Mookie uses. But it's just like bothersome for me because the Yankees have this awesome opening series. And this is a selfish outlook on it, but selfishly, the Yankees have this awesome opening series, and I can't go on social media without hearing about the bat that Anthony Volpe's using. Like, I want to just be pumped about the fact that they just raked for 3 games, swept at home to start the year. And now, honestly, like, it's going to sound petty, but now that you can't write the Soto article because the season actually started to rip the Yankees, they're doing the bat article. And Anthony Volpe sucks, so now he's got to use this bat. Well, whatever to dig at the Yankees during the season, that's how I feel like this originated.
Yeah, what happens when you hit the ball in the old sweet spot, like closer to the top of the bat? Like, what happens? It's just not good contact?
No, it still is, but certain guys have trouble getting the ball on that sweet spot. So think about physically, if you extend this is my understanding of it, if you extend your hands more for a pitch over the middle, like if you watch Judge swing, he uses the regular old bat. I know Judge is an exception. We're going to talk about him later.
Yeah.
But if you watch Judge swing, he does a great job of keeping his hands tight to his body. So the barrel of the bat, the traditional barrel position of the bat, covers the plate. But if you watch Volpe or Chisholm swing, their hands are further away from their body. So the middle of the bat, where it's typically skinnier, is what covers the plate.
But isn't that rewarding a bad swing? Like, that's rewarding a traditionally bad swing.
It is, but it goes back to what I'm saying earlier. When you're allowed to have that swing in Little League, middle school, high school, college, that's how you swing your entire life, because you can use metal bats that are shaped like that.
But do we know that they were using those kinds of bats in Little League and college and high school?
I'd imagine with their swing, there's a good chance. With Volpe specifically, since we are the same age as him, basically, and I had guys now that I'm researching the bats, and I personally use bats like this without actually knowing it, because you kind of just buy a bat when you're a normal human 12-year-old, like I was, hitting like 220. But you do that without even knowing, and Volpe's probably locked in at trainers and stuff, and they're using this bat and forming his swing, giving him the right bat. I don't know. I think it could play a role in it.
I just think I think it's weird. I don't love it, and I know, and it's not a petty Met fan thing. The Yankees scored 5,000 runs this weekend. It's not. I mean, Lindor was using it. You had mentioned Alonso has used it. I don't care about that, and Lindor did nothing with it.
Lindor should go back to the traditional bat.
Yeah, it rubs me the wrong way. It rubs me the wrong way is all.
Yeah, it's just, JM, Gabe, good comments here, but it's just like, this is what bothers me, is something that you're not saying at all, is now everyone's saying the Yankees are cheating. And
that's the joke, and that's funny. But yeah,
I like it when people are joking, but then it's how media illiterate is our world that all of Twitter is, and 75, 80, I mean, you look at the video we posted on Sunday that did over 1 million views, had almost 1,000 comments.
Mm-hmm.
They're all like cheating. And then a couple of them you can tell are jokes, and it's funny. And like the memes of the bat like blown up, and it's like
those are good.
It's like a boat paddle. Those are funny. But the fact that people actually think the Yankees are just cheating in open sight is so stupid and small-minded.
Well, I remember the second I saw it, I texted you, and I texted a bunch of my friends too, saying like, "This is legal?" ? And it was sort of half joking and sort of like, "Hey, did Michael Kay bring this up on the broadcast and talk about exactly what's going on here?" because it obviously wouldn't have been they wouldn't have been able to bring those bats in the dugout unless it was legal. But
yeah,
it's just crazy. It's shocking to see when you first see it.
And you know what else is interesting? That about 4 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, there was an article. I have to find where it's from. There was a report, at least. I don't even know if it was a full article, from one of the Yankees reporters that said the bat that Stanton used last year, with no specifics about the bat, they had said the Yankees recommended he change his bat, and it did serious damage to his elbows the way he swung with it. I don't know if that's true at all or not.
Wow.
Because I haven't seen it get picked up anywhere. But now 3-4 weeks later, we are sitting here with knowledge that Stanton used that bat all season last year, only year of his career he used it, and now he's getting shots in his elbows because he was swinging wrong. First of all, he absolutely dominated on the field last year. We saw in October. But he was using that bat all season last year, and no one's really talking about that. It may have played a role in his injury.
It's funny, too, because now when you look for it, it's tough to see, but you can see it with the naked eye. Like, even if they're just swinging at the plate, if you're looking for it. And
is it just me, or does Chisholm's look egregious?
Chisholm's does.
Jazz Chisholm's looks very, very, like, if any of them are illegal, it's his.
It does. Again, like, I don't know. So you're okay. Like, take it out. Like, take out the fact that the Yankees just scored 36 runs in 3 games. You're good with this. Like, this is okay. You're a traditional baseball guy. You've watched baseball your whole life. You played it most of your life. You're good with this. You're okay with this.
Yeah, but I'm also a guy that thinks pitchers should be able to use a decent amount of sticky stuff. You know, so I think that there should be advantages for both, because once again, I played baseball in high school with kids that were not going to the major leagues that use sticky stuff, and they're really good high school pitchers. So if these guys are using it their whole lives, I think that played a role in Cole's elbow deterioration.
Right. So
what's harder to control?
So what is the advantage you can now give to the pitchers? Because if I was the pitcher and Trevor McGill, I mean, he could,
well, that was a loser.
Please.
That was a loser comment.
You could cry. I mean, you give up 20 runs. Your staff gives up 20 runs. Yeah. Please. At least leave New York to say something.
McGill, pumped to be the new closer, doesn't even get an opportunity the first 3 games.
Please don't say anything while you're there about to play the 3rd game of the year. But if I was a pitcher, I'd be like, all right, well, what do I get now? Because this is an advantage for the hitter, for guys that can extend their arms. So what advantage are you giving me now? If I was a pitcher, that's what I would be saying, at least.
Yep, and now with the data supporting balls being juiced, which is something else we could touch on today.
Yes.
There's a lot of data only through a week, but that suggests every team besides the Mets got juiced balls this weekend. And for a pitcher to look at that, because these guys are seeing stuff on social media, for pitchers to look at that and the torpedo bats, it's like, how do we even compete in the league this year?
Nobody had a worse weekend than the Brewers pitchers. Nobody.
No,
they're playing in a little league stadium against bats you've never seen, with juiced balls and the greatest power hitter we've seen in the last 20 years. On the other side, the Brewer pitchers are like, what the hell are we supposed to do?
They had a kid pitch in the Saturday game. Once the game had been blown open a little bit, but I forget what his name was. And he comes in to pitch the middle of that game, and they're all doing the, first appearance in the bigs.
Yeah.
He's getting some action here at Yankee Stadium, blah, blah, blah. First batter, I think it was Bellinger, hits him in the ass with a rocket line drive. And it ricochets, loads the bases. And I'm like, damn, tough way to start your debut. And then Judge buries a grand slam. And I'm like, and this guy, and he's on the mound. He's got his arms over his head. He's like so upset. And then Jazz puts him 25 rows deep in the right field bleachers with the torpedo bat. And the kid looks like he's about to just collapse and start crying on the mound. I felt so bad for him. But that was a rough weekend for Milwaukee pitchers, dude. That was really rough.
And your guy Nestor, too. That's brutal.
Yep. So I was at the game yesterday, and they did a nice tribute video for Nestor in the 3rd or 4th inning. And he comes out of the dugout, and he looked like his whole family had been killed the day before.
They should have
it was just a look of just tragic depression on his face.
Do you think they had it planned for Saturday or no? Like after he was out of the game, or
They
was it
might have,
always supposed to
because
be Sunday?
Saturday he threw 3 pitches and you had to get rid of the video. You had to say,
Yeah,
we cannot play this right now.
No.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
They also
They
probably
should've
wanted
played
to add. They should have added those 3 home runs to the tribute video. Like thanks, Nestor.
His greatest whatever
Achievements to the Yankees.
his greatest contribution to the Yankees in his
Mhm.
career
Yeah.
was that. But yeah, that kind of stunk because Nestor was a really fun Yankee for a year and a half, 2 years, and he's a great story, great underdog story. Then he comes back. I mean, he got lit up bad, really bad. And now Milwaukee, you got to be sitting there questioning this Devin Williams trade a little bit. Durbin's going to be a good player for them, I think. Had a good spring training, probably waiting for the first week of May to call him up. But that's a tough trade after one series.
Milwaukee swept the team last year to start the year, and that team ended up beating them in the postseason. So I'm just saying, it's okay to start off. So even Atlanta, who's 0-4 and maybe 0-7 as they go to LA here to play the Dodgers, it's okay.
I would be surprised though if Milwaukee beat the team that swept them in the postseason this year.
I would be shocked by that. Yes, I would legit be shocked by that.
Yeah. All right. You want to go into the games here? Good on the bats?
Yeah, we're good on the bats for now. We'll see how this goes.
I'm curious to see the data of the players using them because it's going to be tracked by somebody the rest of the year. I'm interested to see what is the leap, if any, that Volpe takes. What is the leap, if any, that Chisholm? But Chisholm looked awesome. That's one of the places I want to start anyways when we're talking about the games, because you need guys to start replacing this Soto production. Guy was second in MVP last year, third in MVP last year, but he was really the second best hitter in the American League, third best hitter in baseball behind Ohtani and Judge. And so you need to start replacing that. Jazz wasn't actually a guy that I was too focused on in terms of just taking a leap. I thought we're going to get the same guy that he always is, hit 250, some good production, steal a few bags, nothing crazier than that. But how do you not feel great about him and his ability to utilize that short porch? Because he hits so many line drives to right that he just feels like a guy right now that could totally break out this year.
And when you're talking about replacing Soto, I think Bellinger's the first guy that comes to mind, but the second guy that had to step up and give you similar or a little bit better production that you've seen in his career was Chisholm. And those two weren't shocking to me. I always thought you were going to get that production from those guys, especially Bellinger in this stadium, in this city. I think he looks motivated. He looks happy. I think he's really going to shine here. But two guys that would take the Yankees to the next level if they got that production with this production was Volpe and Dominguez. And we didn't see it from Dominguez in the first weekend, but we did see it from Volpe. If you are going to get what Brian Cashman believed for years and the rest of the organization believed for years, which was you're getting a really good offensive shortstop. If he's going to give you that, then this team can take those next steps offensively. They could potentially be better than they were last season, honestly, which I didn't think was possible. But
do you remember last year, the first couple months, Volpe had that long hitting streak? It was at least 15 plus games. It might have even reached the 20s.
Yeah.
And he was hitting probably 335 in the middle of May, end of May.
Yeah.
And then he fell off a cliff the rest of the year. He ended up hitting 240. His on base was terrible. He stunk the rest of the season. He was really bad. He's one of the worst shortstops in the league. And he was giving you really good at-bats those first 2 months. He gave you great at-bats this weekend. Those first 2 months, he was giving you good at-bats. Looked like he took the next step in maturity with his eye and everything. And then he just stunk the rest of the year. And you saw it again in the playoffs a little bit. So how does he put it together and get consistent throughout the whole season? I can't get excited about him early. And, Mike, maybe it's similar to you with Alvarez, but Volpe is a guy that I can acknowledge I probably am over-hating and over-criticizing to start this season because the expectations were so big, and I'm not here to give him a free pass on anything this year. I need to see him be consistent. I can't get jacked up about his play this opening weekend. I need to see more throughout the whole year, but this was a nice first step in seeing that. He and Dominguez are in years that I need to see them play good baseball. It's been too much hype for too long.
And it sucks because it's not necessarily their fault. You know, Dominguez, Volpe, Alvarez, it's not their fault that they're being hyped up. It's the media, it's the team, it's the fans. And they are just coming into the major leagues at such a young age with these crazy expectations, more specifically Volpe. I mean, you're essentially the guy that's tabbed as the next Jeter. That was not fair. We've talked about it so many times. The Yankees didn't trade him for big-time players. They refused to sign big-time shortstops because they had him coming up. There was a legit more pressure in a very long time for a prospect to come into the major leagues, I think, than Anthony Volpe.
Yeah, there was, because how many guys, we've said it a million times, but how many guys did they pass up on? Dansby Swanson, Carlos Correa, Trevor Story, Corey Seager, a bunch of established veteran shortstops and middle infielders, even Marcus Semien, guys of that nature that could have played shortstop. They passed up on a lot of them to make sure that Volpe had a clear path to being the starter, didn't have competition, and they did the same thing with Gleyber Torres, and it didn't work out. By the way, Gleyber Torres already being hated in Detroit, did go yard though, but already getting some tough knocks in Detroit. I'm excited about the Yankees after this weekend. I will say, difference in Friday's episode over reactions and today, which are still overreactions for the most part, is Paul Goldschmidt looked really good Saturday and Sunday, gave really good at-bats, and he's just a massive upgrade. Even if he hits 230 this year, massive upgrade over Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo was awful. And how about Ben Rice giving you a home run yesterday too? If the Yankees can get something out of him, that's big. Overall, there's not a bad thing to say about their lineup. There really isn't. No. But I will throw one negative out there. This guy, Pablo Reyes, sucks. Boone played him on Saturday. Pinch hit him yesterday. Jake Bauers was pitching for Milwaukee, and Reyes hits an 8-foot pop-up to first base in foul territory, flies out, and the day before that, he made 3 errors at third. He's a second baseman, and Boone's putting him at third. Oswald Peraza gets one at-bat on Saturday, goes second deck in left field, and gets benched the next day.
Yeah, I think it obviously Peraza after that should play, but they're not going to figure out third base internally. I like, we knew this, but it's evident after 3 games. No, like the replacement, the starting third baseman in the postseason is not on the roster right now.
No, it's not, and
it better not be on the roster.
The only guy out of those 3 that it could possibly become is Peraza, because we know what Cabrera is. And we know what Reyes is or isn't. And
third baseman.
Cabrera, good utility guy, would play a game of every series on any team in the league. But Peraza is the only guy I could see getting hot and actually being good. And I don't think it would happen. Yeah. But you get what I'm saying. He's the only guy that should be getting the real run there right now. And he's not. So I don't know what they're going to do at third. It's a mess at third base. And they need to add somebody at some point in the season. They're not going to do it soon, but that's a total mess at third base. You're right. It is not coming from inside the Yankees organization.
It's crazy too that the bullpen, especially in the first game where you really were able to see some of the big guys. They look good. We didn't talk about that on Friday. Thursday. They look good on Thursday. We didn't talk about it on Friday. They just got guys, man. They always have guys. And it's not an overreaction. That bullpen's going to be elite again.
Yeah, that bullpen's really good. Williams, I'd like to see again. We're going to see him at some point in this Arizona series, I think. Arizona's got great pitchers. We can look ahead for a moment. Big difference.
Are you worried about, I've seen that take. Are you really worried about him, though?
Williams? No, but I would have liked to see him yesterday. Not that he should have pitched yesterday, but, when it was 7-3, you thought maybe you'd get him out there for a 4-run lead. You got a day off today. So I thought maybe he'd pitch, but then they blew it open, so no reason. But I would have just liked to see him get one more with a 3 or 4 run lead just to be able to ease in and say, there's a good start, because the teams are going to get better than Milwaukee, especially this week against Arizona. But Arizona's next, 3 starters. I had said last week on Friday, the most lopsided pitching matchup of the entire Major League season was Clay Holmes versus Framber Valdez. And that take lasted 5 days, because Will Warren pitches against Corbin Burns tomorrow night.
There we go. That's better. Yeah.
Right away, we have a Cy Young versus a terrible second-year pitcher, or a pitcher in his second year, young prospect going into his second season, and he was awful his first year. But the pitching matchups are pretty scary this week for the Yankees. Burns versus Warren, and then Gallen versus Rodon, and Merrill Kelly versus Cookie Carrasco. So it's a bad 3 games on paper there, to start. We'll see how the Yankees can hit. Interesting thing, familiarity with Burns. A lot of guys faced them with Baltimore last year, and then your two biggest ads were in the NL Central with them, in Bellinger and Goldschmidt. So Goldschmidt's seen him a ton. Bellinger saw him for just a year of overlap, I believe. And then the Yankees saw him twice last year. They hit him around once, got shut down by him once. Great pitcher, first game with Arizona, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for that game tomorrow. It sucks having an off day today, but whatever.
Yeah. They have another off day today?
Another off day today because Arizona has to travel from Arizona to New York today, which is weird scheduling. And then the Yankees play the Pirates over the weekend in Pittsburgh, so hopefully
very nice.
They get a nice start there. What else did I want to talk about? One more thing, and I'm forgetting it. But all right, we'll go to Mets now.
Do you want to go to Judge first?
Oh, Judge,
Judge?
That's what I wanted to do. Judge,
okay.
That's what I wanted to do. Judge, I mean, ridiculous. This guy wins MVPs without showing up in April. And when you have this in March, this is insane, dude. This guy is insane.
Now he's showing up. I wanted to go through the greatest right-handed hitters of all time and then look at their runs, their greatest runs, and their peaks, and whether or not Judge is better than most of those guys. So I took a couple of names down last night, and if I missed anybody, you can let me know. But
righties or just in general?
Righties. I just took righties down. If we want to do this again with all hitters, that's fine. But I just took righties down.
Okay.
I took 3 names down. Okay. 1 from a very long time ago and 2 recent. And you could probably guess the 2 recent. So
do you want me to guess the 2 recent?
No, I won't. But you'll know that. Obviously, you'll it's obvious. So Albert Pujols and A-Rod are the 2 recent guys, right? Right-handed hitters that have these peaks that I think could be argued are better than Judge's, but you could also argue the other way. Mm-hmm. And then another guy was Jimmy Fox. Okay. He had an insane run towards the middle of his career as well, where not only the average and the OPS numbers were incredibly high, but he did have the home run numbers. I looked at that compared to Judge. When I was looking last night, there were guys that had the batting average better and the OPS close, but the home runs weren't on par with what Judge is doing.
Yeah.
These 3 guys are on par in every aspect with Judge, and yet if we took the best 3 years of their career and put it up against Judge, Judge might be better.
Yeah, and people maybe not, because yesterday I made this video with this premise without going into too much detail, but you could immediately throw out like Hank Aaron and Frank Thomas, Ricky Henderson as great right-handed hitters, but you're right, none of them had the production peaks of Judge. Even Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron had the great long-term career. He was great power hitter for a really long time, but when just looking at 3 or 4 seasons, Judge is doing something that is in the guys you named. Fox, Pujols, Rodriguez, and A-Rod, obviously a steroid guy. So in the conversation of Judge, I do like to take those guys out, kind of. We could still discuss them.
Yeah.
But steroids obviously played a role in those guys hitting more home runs. I mean, it's just, that's the reality of it. There's no way around that. And Judge is right there. And you look at Trout's peak, too. Judge maybe is a better player at his peak right now than Mike Trout was.
And I'm looking at the steroid guys, and I'm looking at McGuire more specifically. You could argue Judge's was better. You could argue the last 3 years of Judge were better than the best 3 years from 95 to 97 of McGuire. There's a legit argument.
And I feel like because of his postseason lack of success, he's starting to get tainted a little bit in the perception of fans, because Yankees, it's all about the postseason, and that's fair. It comes with the territory. But Mike Trout is so celebrated. Miguel Cabrera is so celebrated. And they were great, great players. But Judge is better. Judge is a better baseball player than those guys.
No, 100%. And when we're having this conversation, I think you really do have to take out, I can take out the postseason stuff. I think it would be tough for a Yankee fan having this discussion to not include the postseason stuff. I'll take it out right now. I'm not talking postseason. I understand it's a different animal, and he hasn't done it yet. It's true. and that may hurt his legacy in the long run. But in terms of his dominance right now, like how can you argue against him? Would be my question. And I'm not throwing in the postseason, and I can't throw in the postseason in this argument.
But and a lot of players have struggled in the post. Like Bonds was not good in the postseason. A lot of guys in this category have. It's tough to play. I think it's a very different argument between guys in other sports that have the same situation, like Lamar Jackson, where you're just so great in the regular season, and then you're done in the playoffs, because 162 games from April to October, from March to October, is a really long time.
And it's
great.
It's such a different argument in baseball, too, than any other sport, because if you're a star basketball player, you're touching the ball a lot, you're shooting the ball a lot. Football, you're the quarterback, the ball's in your hands every play. Baseball player gets up 4 or 5 times, and then he's playing the field. And the ball's hit to you, a handful of times. Like, the control you have on a game is so far less than any other sport. The postseason, unless you're a starting pitcher, it really shouldn't affect your legacy in a major way. It will for Judge, because he's going to go down as one of the greatest players of all time, and he doesn't have that postseason success at this point. So if he never has it in his career, it will hurt him. But should it really? That's the biggest question, because of the control, the lack of control you have.
Let me throw this hypothetical scenario out there for Judge. Say he's 38 years old, and he's really deteriorating. He's become the Yankees DH. He's a 241 hitter, and he's hitting 27 home runs.
Okay.
But they win the World Series because maybe he's the 5 hitter, the 6 hitter, but they have a new 2-3 hitter that is a star, kind of like if they were to keep Soto, or if they were to get Kyle Tucker or Vlad. Like, they have another guy who stepped in and just took over the organization, kind of a passing of the torch thing. They win a World Series. Judge doesn't have a great playoff run, but he plays every game, 2-3 homers in 3 rounds and hits 208. Is that enough to save his postseason legacy, or just to write off his postseason legacy because he got a ring as a starter, even though it was late in his career and he wasn't the guy anymore?
If he never had success hitting in the postseason, then no. Like,
okay,
if we go from 2025 to whatever that year would be, I think it was 6 more years.
Yeah,
and they're in the postseason, and he's producing in the postseason, but they don't win a World Series, and then he wins that one, then it would save it. But if he is still, for the next 6 years, taking a dump in October, it can't save it. He needs to start hitting for that part of his career to be saved. He needs to start hitting in October.
And I think it would save his postseason legacy only with Yankees fans. I think we'd be able to just say he was such a great player. We're just pumped he got his ring. And that was awesome that he got his ring. The rest of the league, I agree with you. I don't think fans could view it as, it's fine because he got the ring and he was a great regular season player. I don't think you could just write that off.
And it's not going to affect his Hall of Fame candidacy either.
No, he's a first ballot if he retires.
He's a first ballot no matter what. Even if he, went 0-4s in the postseason for the rest of his career. He's still getting in.
That's where he's different than Mattingly. I compare the two a lot, but that's where he's different. There's no question about Mattingly. I mean, there's no question about Judge. There is the question about Mattingly in his career. Let's go Mets. We're talking so much offense. We got to change the pace here.
Yeah.
So
much offense in Houston.
This is the OPS stat that I wanted to bring up. Very simple. Team OPS. Or, I'm sorry, team slugging, not OPS. So the Yankees are first, 804 slug in their opening weekend.
Sure, yeah.
Interestingly, Arizona's second. They play tomorrow. But Arizona's got a 543. So it shows you what the Yankees did, almost 300 points higher.
Yeah.
The Mets, dead last, 216 slug. The Astros, second to last, 224 slug. So you literally had the Yankees quadruple the numbers of the Mets and Astros who played each other. This series was very interesting because it's two teams that for different reasons I had a keen eye on. Obviously, you know the reasons with the Mets, but also Houston. I want to see where Houston's at after the Kyle Tucker trade. I want to see what this team looks like. The offense was completely dead in this series, Mike, and I don't think it was because of the pitching.
I think it was the dead balls that they sent to Houston. They sent the wrong balls to Houston. Clearly, I mean, come on, no, it was fascinating. It really was. I just like I don't think it was like not joking around. Like it obviously wasn't a different ball. It was just I do think it was good pitching. I think it was cold bats to start the year, and these teams also see each other a lot. It's funny. These teams play a lot in spring training. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but the Mets basically play the Astros every other day in Port St. Lucie. So I don't know. I don't have an answer. I just think you have guys on this team, especially Francisco Lindor. And we put that video out yesterday. He's just a slow starter, and you have to come to expect that now if you're a Mets fan. But do you have any reasons? Like you don't think it's the pitching? So what the hell was it?
I think the lineup's starting slow, but we're going to have the overreaction conversation about does the Mets lineup stink right now?
Come on. I'm not having that conversation.
I'm having it. I'm having
the
conversation.
Any part of that conversation.
Because I look at their lineup and I love the top four. And after that, I could see it being awful. Why is Jose Siri not playing every day also to start the year? They need that pop in the bottom of the order.
38% of the time.
I know, but they need that pop in the order. I don't think Taylor's any good. So I could care less about him playing ever. Siri, I don't think is great either. I think he's the most overrated bottom three hitter in the league. But they do need that pop in the bottom of the order. And as my phone's going off, I'm saying Siri. But I'm not sold on the Mets bottom half right now. I need to see it first.
Neither am I, but there's two guys that are supposed to be playing and hitting in the bottom half that are currently on the injured list.
And that's true. But right now, until those guys are back, I'm not there yet.
Oh, neither am I. I mean, Brett Beatty was God in spring training and has played 2 games and did nothing. Came up in a huge spot Saturday. Couldn't get a big hit.
Well, yeah, Beatty stinks. Spring training merchant.
I was starting to believe too. I was starting to get there. Like, there's no way.
I know you were. I was trying not to crush your spirit, but I had a friend text, "I'll never give up on you, Brett Beatty," and I was like, "This guy sucks." I was like,
"See, I wasn't there, but I was getting to a point where it was freaky. It's like there's no way he can be this good in spring training and not have at least some of it roll over to the regular season. Clearly, I'm probably going to be wrong there, but like Acuna's giving you nothing at the plate either. There's some holes at the bottom of the lineup. They need McNeil back badly.
Yeah, and if you want to quickly just get to the point about why their offense struggled this week, Nimmo 2 hits, Alonso 1 hit, Vientos 1 hit, Lindor big donut this week. Lindor was terrible. This is a frustrating part about Lindor is I know we're going to be sitting here in October saying Lindor had a really good season. We love Lindor heading into the playoffs.
He's top 5 MVP.
This is why he doesn't get all-star nods, because he stinks in April every year. Every year we sit here the 3rd week of April questioning the contract, questioning the trade. It's clockwork. And he was awful against Houston. And then we're sitting here in the end of July having to fend off all of the haters saying he's not a top 5 shortstop. Meanwhile, he's the best in the entire league besides Witt now. But this is an annual cycle with him and these slow starts, and it's ridiculous. I'm so done with it. Why is he never ready to go?
I don't know. I don't know. And he didn't have a great spring this year, but he's had good springs in the past, and then it led to a slump to start the year. He's also about to have his 3rd child. So he's going to miss some time there as well. His wife is, I think, any day or any week now at this point. So he's going to miss some time there. A lot on his mind. Somebody asked him about that, if that is, too much pressure. And he said no. He always gives the right answers after the game. But I just think I'm at a point where I'm just going to be patient. Just going to be patient.
Hey, man, Judge's wife was pregnant, and he hit 58 home runs last year. So, I mean, time to get going, Lindor, because you're not doing what you should be doing.
She had the baby after the postseason, and right, and he knew.
Postseason, he struggled. There could have been pressure on him in the postseason.
Yeah, there we go. So
that's why we can now write off his postseason struggles.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
What else with the Mets?
The pitching was great. The pitching was great.
What a funny, flip from everything we talked about. It shows you how much we know. Everything we spoke about the last 10 weeks. The pitching stinks. This pitching's terrible. They're going to get lit up. And now it's lineup can't hit after your top 2 lineup claims all season. And the only place the Mets lineup is top 2 is in New York. And now the pitching looked great the opening week. So you got to be at least excited about that. I think the bullpen, where I've been more towards their middle of the pack bullpen, you've been on the side of this bullpen could be really, really good. Bullpen looked pretty good. Starters look good. Yeah, so you could be optimistic about that.
How about my guy Griffin Canning the other day? Looking good, looking sharp.
Yeah, Canning did it. Worst home run through 9 in baseball last year.
Good swing and miss stuff. Good swing and miss stuff.
Maybe he's the guy that Stearns gets the most out of this year. Out of the annual who does Stearns fix? Maybe
I think it'll be Holmes. I still think it'll be Holmes.
I just worry about his ability to pound the zone, as I spoke about on Friday.
Yeah. I also had a Yankee fan. JM called me the other day and was like, that was his problem. That because I had said I'm not worried about it. I think he has good stuff. He'll figure it out. He just beat himself, and he was like, "Well, all he did was beat himself." So we'll see. Yeah. I still have confidence in Holmes. I have confidence in Canning though as well. I do now. I do after that start.
There you go. So you're optimistic here about the Mets. You're not.
How can I be pessimistic? Also,
you could be.
$765 million player did everything he could to lead the team to victory over the weekend, and nobody wanted to help him out.
The Yankees could not score yesterday or do anything good without someone yelling about Soto at the game. It was actually it was bothering me. It was frustrating. I'm so done with talking about it. Yeah, every single time.
A lot of Soto.
It was always one guy, but never really the same people. Someone just had to say something about Soto after a home run. Just don't you miss hitting in front of Judge? Which, by the way, I had a lot of people this offseason. I'm just going to take a little victory lap here at the 3 games. I had a lot of people this offseason tell me how much more Judge benefited from Soto in front of him. That's total BS. Not that it wasn't an equal. I think it was an equal relationship. I think they both just benefited mightily from having each other. But to think that Judge, who won the MVP 2 years before Soto got there and has hit 50 home runs twice in his career before Soto got there, to think he was the one that will stink without the other is totally wrong. To think either of them would stink without the other is totally wrong, because all they've done without each other in the 5, 6, 7 years before that is have success. It was ridiculous. Stupidest conversation. And you think Bellinger won't benefit from it and Vientos or Alonso won't benefit from it this year? I mean, come on.
Right. Stupid. I think people were just scared that prior to Soto getting here, in that 23 season, he had literally no protection in that lineup. He had nobody protecting him.
Nope.
And he still was on pace for, it wasn't going to be a 22 season or a 24 season, but he was on pace for a 50 homer season, 9 WAR, really, really good. Probably the MVP, but it was not the 24 season.
No, it wasn't. And
he had no protection. He had 0 protection.
Yeah, I think he looked good, though. I think Mets fans can only be excited about him. I had another person talking to me this weekend, Mets fan. I can't believe we gave him that much money. How do you give a guy that much money who can't field? I mean, shut up at this point. It's just tired. It's so tired. It's not your money. It's not your money.
What did he do in the field to piss you off this weekend? He did nothing.
It's not even your money that he's getting. You act like, fans act like they gave all this money, like their entire life savings, to the Mets to get a DH for the next 15 years who hits 235. It's just not even true at all. But good. I liked it. I liked the opening weekend for Soto. He looked comfortable. I didn't think he actually lost that much aura in the Mets uniform. Thought there was some aura still there, even jersey swap.
New uni looks nice. New uni's
nice. Awesome. That's a good vibe thing. Are they home against the Marlins? No, they're not home until Toronto, right?
Yeah, they're still away.
All right, so got to go take care of business. How about the Marlins? Couple walk-offs this weekend. 3 walk-offs, I think, this weekend.
3 walk-offs. This is the first time it's got to be, and I can't even. We got to look this up. When's the last time the Mets traveled to Miami to play the first place Marlins?
Yeah, wow. Could it have possibly been during COVID? Were they in first place at all during COVID?
Who won the division?
Because I think Atlanta did.
Yeah,
but the Marlins made the playoffs in that first expanded playoff. So
maybe
I'm curious if they had it for a moment.
Yeah, maybe it was then. I don't know. Crazy though.
Yeah, crazy. But we'll see about the Mets against the Marlins. Sandy looked good in his first start. I don't know what the pitching matchups are for the next.
I think he's
going
to pitch Wednesday. The Mets got Peterson, Senga the next 2 days. So
okay, Quantrill
favorable
for Miami.
matchup. Yeah,
tonight. Senga, Alcantara tomorrow. So it's Sandy tomorrow.
Sandy's tomorrow, not Wednesday.
Sandy's tomorrow against Senga. And
wow, nice little pitching matchup Tuesday night.
Wednesday better pitching matchup, Holmes versus Gillespie.
Yeah, that's what you live for. That's what you look for.
That's why we watch. I probably will skip the Yankee game actually on Wednesday
to watch.
One. Yeah, I mean Gallen, Rodon, or Holmes, Gillespie. First place.
We know
Miami.
the priorities. Yeah,
first place game or interleague game.
Come on, this is a hard division game. Brutal rivals. This is what you want. The Mets, by the way, hit. I think the stat was 5 balls of 103 miles per hour or more on Saturday.
Did any of them go for hits?
They had 1 hit in the game. So
I wonder how many the Yankees hit of
out of the park.
Was it 105?
Yeah. 103.
Judge alone did that 5 times.
So we'll I think the Bats going to come around here in Miami. I think that's a fair statement. They'll go over tonight.
How about Scherzer was supposed to have a nice ceremonial return to Citi Field to open it up, already hurt.
It's almost like because he talks so much, it's almost comical. Mm-hmm. And it also it's unbelievable because how could somebody be on the injured list this much?
It feels like the retirement stage for Scherzer.
Yeah, like, oh my God, how? He's robbing the Toronto Blue Jays of $15 million.
Yeah, they were
whatever
desperate to pay. They were just desperate to pay anybody money this offseason.
You think the Mets would have given him a tribute video? I actually think they would have. I think they would have.
Because, they retired Willie Mays' number. He played an hour and a half for the team. So they would have given Scherzer nice, maybe even a plaque.
No, he was not getting a plaque.
He might have gotten a plaque right at the entrance, that Jackie Robinson entrance. They might have put a Scherzer plaque in that, and a beautiful 10-minute tribute video during the 7th inning stretch.
He would have got a 2-minute video. Hey, before the game. Hey, thanks, Max.
He would have got the Nestor. Yeah, middle of the third inning warm-ups. They flash a video on the screen. Half the place is empty. Everyone's in the bathrooms, and Nestor's going to come out and do a quick flip of the hat to tip of the cap to the fans.
That's perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. Anything else on the Mets here?
No, I'm good on the Mets. We're the next time we speak, it's gonna be very, very high vibes because it'll be a whole bumper.
Think low vibes in Boston. Devers, 100 strikeouts in 16 at bats. First weekend as DH. This is 5 weeks after saying he will not DH, and maybe he was onto something. He should not be DHing.
Do you think this act like him being the DH is legit hurting him?
No, but I think just him being so much in his own head. He didn't run much in spring, though. He didn't get much spring action.
No.
So he's probably still adjusting a little bit, but he was terrible. He was abysmal. He couldn't even make contact. He had an RBI on a bases-loaded walk that he check swung and he might have went.
He had 12 strikeouts in 16 at-bats.
12 strikeouts in 16 at-bats. Major league record.
I don't even know what to say. I saw the meme about Cole that you sent me. I'd seen that twice. Yeah. That was pretty funny. I don't know. He came across as such a POS when he's coming out here saying, I'm not the DH, I'm the third baseman. Maybe he deserves it. He kind of deserves it.
He does. And that's why I like to cherish Judge so much, who's way better than Devers, and Devers is a great player, and Lindor, who's also way better than Devers, because these are the franchise players on our teams, and you don't hear a thing out of them. I mean, Lindor had this stuff year one that may have gotten blown out of proportion a little bit, but still, since then, the thumbs down. Yeah, that's a poor fan base, though. I understood the frustration.
Okay.
Very obnoxious fan base. He was not feeling welcomed. Javi Baez should have gotten a better welcome. Mets basically ruined his career.
Yeah.
But yeah, that like Devers, for your best player to come out and say that after you added a really good player, it's not like you added Yohan Moncada and they were saying he's going to be our third baseman. Rafi's going to DH. That's not what happened. And Cora obviously is fed up with him because he did nothing to cater to Devers in that moment. He was like, we're giving you $330 million. I don't need to make any other guarantees to you about where you play. And that's fair. But Devers, to see your 27 years old, 28 years old, to see your 27-year-old, 28-year-old, who, by the way, is fat, is lazy on the bases and in the field, can't field, see this guy getting that much money, little frightening, I think, if I was a Red Sox fan. Encouraging, though, as a Yankees fan. Love to see that. He already is the DH. He'll probably never leave it the rest of his career. He's got like another 10 years on that deal. And he's presenting himself terribly.
Cora was like every Red Sox fan at that moment because you don't expect Devers to say that in that press conference at that time. You just make this big signing. It's the Red Sox are back. Here we come. Here we go again. We're now making a move that puts us in the top 3 or 4 of teams in the American League. And now you got drama. And when there was just a lot of noise all off season long in Boston. And now it has resulted in a putrid start.
And if you look at through his career, I mean, this guy, all he does is hit. He's not a good fielder. He's never been a really good third baseman. And the Red Sox are relying on him. But at the same time, there's a world where Bregman is a better player than him this year for the Red Sox. So you add a player who's won 2 titles, who's been there, 4 times, knows how to win, has a great relationship with your manager.
Yeah. A better relationship probably than Devers does.
Yep, probably. And actually, I think we could almost say definitely here.
Yeah.
And Bregman is the cheating, whatever, he's a winner. And he's a competitor. And he's going to come in, and if they wanted him to play second, he'd play second. If they wanted him to go learn first, he'd learn first. Third base, all the same. DH, I'm sure Bregman would have done it. He probably doesn't sign with them if he has to, but he would have done it like at the point where he's on the team and they need him to do it for a few days. Devers, obviously, a little selfish. I think they want him to learn first base because they tried to move Casas.
Yeah.
And they couldn't move Casas, and now they're in a little bit of a pinch, but still, this should not be a problem, and it is. And after all that, what he needed to do was come out and hit, and he didn't.
Yeah, it's embarrassing for him, honestly. It's embarrassing for him. And I think, again, you have Bregman, who is also, we had mentioned, a great postseason player. It's a home run signing, just can't make it work in terms of where we're going to play them defensively. This was the only option, and he's got to hit. He has to hit for them because that World Series prediction is not looking good right now.
No, it's looking terrible. And they're not even going to win the division at this rate.
Right. I mean, they ran into the Torpedo Bat Yankees, so it's done. It's over.
And it's not my fault none of the Red Sox were able to hit with it in spring training.
Right, exactly.
They tried it. They couldn't hit with it. How about your boy DeGrom against them? He looked very good.
Yeah, happy to see that. Rooting for him, even though he's kind of a douche. Rooting for him because I do want to see him get into the Hall of Fame one day, and I think he has to accumulate some stats here and just eat some innings and not be terrible. That's what he has to do the rest of his career to get into the Hall of Fame, I think. So I'm rooting for him to stay healthy and to pitch well.
I also want to talk about the Braves 0-4.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned it before, but we talked a lot about what are they if Strider and Acuna aren't healthy. And starting 0-4 doesn't encourage me, especially for my over 93.5 wins.
Sure.
But we'll see. Too early. I don't know who they play this week. They play
the Dodgers right now.
Dodgers. Oh, God. So they're going to be 0-9 by Friday.
No, come on. They're going to win a couple here in LA probably. They, I don't know. I don't know what they are because it's tough to say, especially without Acuna, what they're going to be offensively because I don't think you're getting the same season out of Marcell Ozuna. Now, Riley and Olsen should have better seasons than they did last year if they're healthy. But you need your MVP back. I mean, you need your MVP back, and then you need your Cy Young Award winner back. So, I don't know. I don't know about Atlanta. I worried about them. I had their under. I had them in third place. There was a reason, and I think we're seeing that reason early.
I also looked just now at their Dodgers matchups this week. You know, at least they get the back end of that rotation. Glasnow, May, and Snell.
Yeah.
So maybe the Braves pick things up. Is that not ridiculous? Is what they've done? Mookie Betts loses 85 pounds. He looks like a skeleton talking to the media, comes back, walk-off homer. And he looks great, looks fine.
They have 2 of that game, too.
They had 2 of that game, and it looks perfect. Looks like the best player in the league again. This team is insane. Insane, man. They're not going to lose a game.
It's crazy. Yeah, they're still on pace for the 162-0. It is.
As are the Yankees. So that's going to be a serious matchup in May.
Yeah, but, you know, it's a little bit more impressive that the Dodgers have 5 wins, and they were able to win in Tokyo. The Yankees only have 3.
5 wins, though, by Wednesday.
Yeah, but did they win in Tokyo? Are they going to have those wins in Tokyo?
They didn't get an opportunity.
Okay. It's just in New York. It's not that impressive.
It's the Bronx, though. Tough place to do anything.
That is true. That I have to say is true.
There are about 30 people winning in the Bronx, and they're all part of the Yankees.
Okay. Interesting. You see that, not to go completely off topic, did you see the, before I asked you about what you ate yesterday, the train, that vintage train that went into Yankee Stadium? That was sick. Like that. That's pretty cool. Nice touch
there for the, and I wonder, the people on it probably didn't even expect that to be the pickup.
No, that's sick. That's really cool.
That's a cool one to see arrive.
And then let's go into what you ate the other day at Yankee Stadium on Sunday afternoon.
Yesterday was a unique day because I've never been in a colder Yankee game. I've been to playoff games that are about 50 degrees, but like after a sunny day, so it's a little bit of a warmer 50. Yesterday was probably 45, light, misty rain and windy, so I was freezing. So I had the chicken bucket.
Nice.
I also did a hot dog. Great hot dog.
Let's go.
Great Nathan's hot dog. And that was it. I had to just leave it there. There was a guy next to me in the tiramisu helmet.
How did that look?
It probably would, because it's a lot smaller than the picture looks.
Mm-hmm.
It is like the ice cream helmet.
It's not even filled past the brim of the ice cream helmet.
No, it's not.
And that's small.
So that's small. I could see it being an enjoyable item. I would never do it still because that's just not what I'm eating at a baseball game, tiramisu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I could see it being an enjoyable item in the middle of July if it's like a 7 o'clock game where it was, you know, it's sun goes down and it's like 65 degrees.
Okay. Very specific,
you get
but I like it.
Cool summer night, I could do it. In the sun, cannot eat that. Any warmth, cannot eat that. I run hot, so cannot eat that. And I'm excited to see the cookie bucket situation. You know, I'm trying to be open-minded to this.
You're getting killed on TikTok about it.
I'm getting destroyed. But you got killed in my group chat, so that means more. I forgot to tell you that.
I did.
You got sliced in the group chat. Yeah, but
that's tough.
But I got 1 or 2 in the group chat too, so it wasn't totally. It was like 80%.
Some people don't. Listen, I know how to eat. Look at me. I know how to eat.
You do. You know how to eat. I would trust you with any food recommendations.
Exactly.
We've had great Chipotle runs, and you know what you're doing there. So I'd imagine you know what you're doing everywhere else.
On Friday, I'm just going to get the cookie bucket. And if the cookies are not good, then I'm going to shut this whole thing down, this whole operation down. And I will hate on the cookie bucket. But if the cookies are good, soft cookies, we're in.
I need you to send me a picture of the bucket when you get it, because
I'll get it on Friday.
The picture that everyone, so that's the home opener Friday, right?
Yeah, Friday's home opener.
So the picture that everybody is sending around of the cookie bucket looks terrible. They look dry. They look like they were made a few hours ago. Mm-hmm. If I could get around to it, if I am with 5 people who all agree we want to have 3 or 4 cookies each, and they're a melted, fresh out of the oven cookie. I know it's being very picky, but I can't do a dry.
And I agree, and I
cookie.
completely agree with you. If it is like a Chips Ahoy BS,
Yeah.
then it's not worth it. And that's probably what it's going to be. Like 75% chance that's what it is.
And listen,
There's
if it
no
is
way-
a Chips Ahoy type thing, you have to give them a pass because they signed Soto.
Okay.
As a
fair.
Mets fan, you have to. But
Okay.
but still, we should be doing more. By the way, Yankees, bad look yesterday. Chicken bucket. Have you ever gotten the chicken bucket at a Yankee game?
Of course.
Of course. So you know how it comes with those barbecue sauce packets.
Yeah, sure.
You don't get the packets anymore.
You have to
You have to
pay
go
for them?
get it out of a pump. No, you have to go get it out of a pump.
Oh,
So it's still free. But the barbecue sauce, I don't even love the barbecue sauce there. I like the honey mustard guy.
Okay.
But we go and get the barbecue sauce, and a couple of guys I'm with like the barbecue sauce with the chicken bucket. It's like a gel paste. It's not like a barbecue sauce. It's like a cheap gel paste, and it was terrible. It was awful.
That's
so
awful.
That after not signing Soto is
bad.
a terrible look.
That's a really bad look.
Because now
they
I
gotta
can't be a pass for Bellinger. Like that's not how that works.
Yeah, and I'm sure the chicken bucket was $25 and the beer's $20 and this and that, and you don't have Soto. That's a problem. That's a problem.
$18 for a beer.
That's crazy.
$18 for a beer, and I'm watching on day 3. I'm watching Marcus Stroman pitch. We won. We're 3-0, but that only lasts so long because in July when the skid hits and Will Warren
Pablo Reyes is at third base.
Pablo Reyes is hitting cleanup at third base. We have serious issues when you go to a game and there's no good barbecue sauce, and I can't get anything for reasonable price.
But we're not there yet, so we're not going to.
And at that point, we can envision that Soto is having an awesome year. The Mets are winning. So it just adds a little insult to injury for the Yankee fan who just wants a simple barbecue sauce, traditional at the game.
Yeah.
All right.
We're not there yet.
Up there? We're not there.
We can wrap. We're not there yet.
We're not there. All right, wrap it up. Episode 40 episodes. It's been a great run of Boroughs. More to come. We appreciate the support, not only with the podcast live and after we go live with rewatches. That's been awesome to see the growth, and we appreciate the little community that we're starting to get here, as well as the community on social media with the short clips that we will continue to post. You can find Yankee Met content every day on our socials. We encourage you to chime in. We do reply to the comments. I had one other thing. 40 episodes, right? I mean, pretty good run for us. We had both teams in the championship series. We had a World Series appearance. Still waiting for the ring here, but got to stay patient. It'll come eventually.
Yeah, probably.
This year is probably going to be a ring for the Yankees. And we have a great season on the slate. We're trying to do more. We're trying to bring in interviews to the show. So we have a great season to try and improve this show and continue to get better on it. So we appreciate you. We're happy baseball's back, and we'll be back at some point during this week, trying to get 2 episodes a week in this year, and then maybe plus some bonus content on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever. So thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.